Greetings, everybody. It is your favorite Dark Sorcerer here, Angelus, son of Abaddon. And this morning, I'd like to discuss some things some questions have popped up on. The importance of fasting. Certain times of the year, certain times of the day, certain times of the week, even. Fasting is needed for a ritual, a ceremony, or even that of purity, purifying the body. Chiromancy, communing with the dead. Necromantic rituals and rites. Nigromancy, the art of black magic, or the practicing thereof. Now, to start off with, what is fasting? Fasting has been used in religions dating back hundreds of years. You consider the Daniel's fast has been used for the last 300 years. It is one of the more, how should I say this? Well, let's just say I call it the pussyfooting around type technique because it literally is a low key type of fasting. You eat just things of the ground, apples, vegetables, anything grown of the ground you can have. You can't have meats, you can't have milk, you can't have any form of protein. But yet you can eat things like fruits and vegetables. You can see why I call it the pussyfooting around technique of fasting. So here, when you get into more extreme fasts, one of the most extreme techniques of fasting is known as the Black Fast. And this comes from the Catholics, by the way. Up until the 10th century, you were permitted to have more than one meal with a certain degree of intake. Think of it as small portions. After the 10th century, it changed to 2 meals, down to 1 meal even. It went into a form of what time you could eat. You consider around the 10th century when things started changing with the Catholic fasting for their spiritual cleansings, their spiritual communes. They would eat on a Saturday during the day, say around noon. Later, around the 13th century, after dark, you were allowed to permitted to eat 1 meal. Just 1 meal. Ironically, throughout the 31 days of this type of fasting, which is very rigorous, very demanding, and takes its toll on the body because you're ridding yourself of the toxic chemicals, the toxic fats that permit you from becoming close to deitas or some form of spirit. Doesn't matter if it's a god, like say their god, Jesus, or that of say Jehovah. No, it doesn't just limit you there. No, you can expand this to angels, demons, jinn, Loa, Ugan. You can bring about this to commune with them, even in necromantic rites. 31 days of dedicated and committed rituals nightly around the same hour of every night for 20 minutes after you make that first petition. That first petition of calling on those spirits of, say, a graveyard. As we speak, I'm actually uploading the one from last night. Let's see if it's gone up yet. Yeah, it is now on this channel. And it's called Necromancy, Second Night Ritual along with the Black Fast. Look it up. Okay? Now, the Black Fast, instead of eating meats, you would cut meats out, you would cut eggs out, you would cut out wine, you would cut out alcohol, you would cut out things like milk, okay? Things that produce certain chemicals, certain reactions within the body that permit you from having a more clearer vision of spirits, especially that within communing with them in full manifestation. Now, here's where things switch. In the past, it used to be you could have some form of wine, some kind of beverage, with that of bread, some form of salad even. But as time went on and we get into black magic, dark sorcery, the point of the black fast after dark, as you're dwindling your food supply down to one meal a day. More so, you've cut out eggs, milk, and meats. You don't touch them. You drink plenty of water. See, the goal is by the end of the 31 days, you're on a strictly liquid diet. You can see why this is so extreme. Because you're not just going to be losing your body's mass. You're literally going to be slim. You're going to be slimming down. You're going to be losing muscle tensity. You're going to become weaker. You're going to become closer to death. You see, there are necromantic rites out there that allow you to become as a leech, a glitch. Okay? And what this is between Russian and German. It is the same thing as necro. Okay? Your transmortification of your soul to become dead. You are physically becoming associated with the dead. It is the right of a necromancer. And the difference between a necromancer and, say, for an example, a grave lord, is a grave lord is somebody who, from what I can gather and what I've read and practiced and what I'm currently working for and towards, is the control of a graveyard, being appointed as the ruler of that graveyard. Whereas a necromancer has free reign to call upon whoever, whenever they want. No limitations, no foundations of staying in one spot. You see, a grave lord, on the other hand, a grave lord, now, their power is given to them by the spirits, the whole full backing of the spirits, just like when you align yourself with the forces of darkness. When you align yourself with the forces of darkness, like, say, Satan or and his legions, or that of, say, the Grimoire systems of Lucifer, Belial, and or Beelzebub rather, and Astaroth, and follow the hierarchy, you're under their protection. What power you gain is what they allow you to have. But they teach you how to become more powerful. They guide you, just like the spirits of a graveyard. You see, they are the ones that give you your dark talisman, your dark object. They are the one that gives you the title of Grave Lord. They are the one that gives you the spiritual gifts, such as teaching you necromantic rites and rituals, things that will benefit you as a necromancer. This is not a path working for the faint of heart. It is not a path working or root working for those who are dabblers. You want to dabble, you go back to the original stuff. You want die-hard practices. This is what it takes. When we look at chiromancy, chiromancy is the old definition of what today's mediumship is, what today's spiritual conjuration or rejuvenation aspects of necromancy is. In the old days, when we go into Francis Barrett's The Magus, we see how necromancy is associated with not only spiritual conjuration, such as that of Eliphas Levi when he visited London and got so scared of the ritual that he had just performed, he went back to the Hermetics, never to touch that type of magic again. But Francis Barrett also recognized rejuvenation, because rejuvenation of corpses was actually associated with the Witch of Endor, something that a lot of witches and a lot of sorcerers and sorceresses throughout the communities know quite well. They recite her work quite well. When King Saul went to her during the 40-year war with the Turks, she thought he was there to ensnare her and called him out on it. This is biblical, by the way, but it's also a known fact throughout history. Historical and mythological accounts, like Simon Magus, for an example. There are many instances where fasting and spiritual conjuration and rituals and rites go hand in hand. I mean, did you think you call on the four corners or the four quarters, the four watchtowers for fun and giggles? What about petitioning spirits to come forth through rituals of black magic, such as demons? You have your protectors, you have your teachers, your educators. You have the full backing of that system, of those spirits, such as demons. For an example, if you're aligned with the underworld, then guess what? You have the full backing of them. You're protected. You have that veil that is pulled back, and they're educating you. The fast, such as a black fast, the Daniel's fast, allows you to purify your own body to move into these areas to where you can summon a spirit to full manifestation, and they will come. You have those that come because they want to be a part of the living again. You got those who are going to have some form of bad reaction to you and want to test your mantle. You got your adversaries. This isn't any form of magic. This isn't any form of magic. Summoning spirits. But if you go to them and you make your intention known of what you're seeking, and you state to them point blank, this is my petition. This is what I have come to you for. I ask for you to test my mantle. And I ask for you to put me through trials and tests. Prevent me from coming here night after night for 31 days. I want you to fight to find out who is the strongest. I want your champion as my second. But I want you to bestow this title upon me. Find me worthy. You see, it's that state of humbleism that the spirits respect. Let them commune amongst themselves and to test you. Let them decide if you're worthy to be their king, their ruler. Build that relationship with them. Black fasting is an extreme measure, yes. And it's something that I've taken on myself for this entire month. Night after night, I will be in a graveyard. Night after night, I'll be there for 20 minutes, if not longer, depending on how I feel. Because like you, I also have a job. Now you take certain things, certain characteristics that you got to take into consideration. You have the sorcerer and sorceress on one hand, wanting nothing to do with the mundane. You're in it for the power, you're in it for the knowledge, the spiritual growth. This is something that we all strive for, to become the best, to try to know everything that we can get in life, to understand, to evolve. But on the other hand, we have the mundane, the man or the woman that has to live in this world. One of the comments that keep popping up is balance, trying to balance things out. They're not meant to be balanced. They're made to keep separate. The sorcerer hides amongst the sheep. The man is all they see, or the woman is all they see. They don't see the sorcerer or sorceress moving amongst them. They only see a person. You see, a person can be ignored. They can be put down. But the witch, the warlock, the dark sorcerer or sorceress, the necromancer, the blood sorcerer, the demonologist, the satanist, they will be remembered. But it's your act of how far you're willing to go. To a sorcerer, the world is insane. Being wrapped up in drama, being wrapped up in day-to-day activities. But to the world, what we do as dark sorcerers and sorceresses, we are insanity. When we prick our finger or cut our arm to draw blood as an offering and a sacrifice, they view that as cutting. They turn it into a mental illness, a disease that needs to be cured. You see why they can never be together. But you as an individual, you as the individual, when you undergo one of these processes, when you go underneath one of these purifying tests and trials, which can be done once or twice a year, what the Catholics refer to as holy days, or what mainstream Christians would refer as holy times of the year. It's not just them that does this. You look at all the old grimoires. When you study these grimoires, you see how these practitioners have literally put themselves through hell, extreme isolation, extreme fasting, pushing themselves to the brink of insanity to achieve their goals, to achieve an outcome. One of the other topics that was brought into this is those who go on the right-hand path and the left-hand path. These two settings don't mix. That's like straddling a double-edged sword, and if time runs out, you're cut in two and you cease to exist because you haven't chosen a side. You haven't chosen who you are and what you represent. Purifying your body not only brings about a much beneficial and greater sense, a spiritual connection, but it allows you to access it a lot faster. It pushes you beyond your limits. I've been doing this fast now for about a week. I'm already down to 2 meals a day. By next week, I'll be down to 1. The week after that, purely liquid diet for 31 days. The difference is that I'm going for 3 extra days on this as well. Now, a lot of people have told me, this can't be done. You're going to kill yourself. Really? Think about it this. You follow these individuals, these type of religions. Your so-called heroes have done this. These people have done this. They've, in the past, your ancestors. People still do this. They just utilize a different formulation of intake. Veggies as a drink. With blenders, you can actually blend them up and make them into a smoothie. You got supplements that will help sustain your body. You got things that are grown from the earth, things that you can still eat, like breads, water, drink water, juice, taking in that vitamin C, the vitamins that you're going to need. But you got to push yourself. You got to go through these trials throughout this time of purity. And like I said, with the 2 full moons that we've got this month, one that we just had on the 5th, and that which is coming up on the 21st, it's a perfect time not only to perform a fast, a cleansing, in every aspect of what it entails, but it's a great time to perform rituals nightly. Shelly 333, custom made incense. Lord Hades Black Flame, Miss B, Dark Truth. Awesome, Dark Truth. Hello, Shelly, and yeah, I know that one. Custom. You consider I got up and jumped in the shower, and now I'm doing a video while I'm uploading another one. So, cool. Why end it tomorrow, Dark Truth? Why not take it until the end of the month? Test yourself. Push yourself beyond your limits. Remember, you're a sorcerer, not of the mundane. And when you commune with spirits and you take notice of what the items are that you can eat during this time, the times that you can eat. That is something that's good. Mm, I see. Short-term gains, something quick. Or something specific. You know what's ironic is coffee used to be one of these items that Catholics and Christians used to utilize with one meal of bread, which is kind of ironic, really, because nowadays Christians will tell you, don't do that. You can't have this. It's funny. You know, that's a good question, Lord Hades. That's something I would recommend that you discuss with your medical provider before doing any form of fasting. Because of the malnourishing effect, that could have dire consequences. But because you're not solely cutting back fully on foods, you'll be able to eat vegetables. You're going to be able to eat things like bananas, apples, things with potassium in it, things with acids. They'll help break down the proteins and everything within your body as you're going through the fast. But you can also eat things like breads. Today we have loaves of breads. Back then they'd actually have the homemade ones. Damn, I miss those old ones. Whew. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do as an alternative. But before you perform any form of fasting, I would recommend that you, if you have some kind of things like diabetes, that you do consult your medical provider, see what they suggest as well. Now, like I said, the man and the sorcerer is different. They're separate. But it doesn't mean that they don't intermingle. And the reason they intermingle is because it's the same being, just torn in two, the night and the day aspect. During the day, you are the man. At night, you are the sorcerer. But still, you do want that. You do want to check into that. That is true, custom made. The normal body intake of water is about 8 to 10 bottles a day. You don't want to go any further than that because you'll be flushing out your system faster. So I would recommend roughly about anywhere between 6 to 8. Enough to keep your body going, but full at the same time. But I would also recommend that you dwindle your intake down throughout the fasting process. That way, by the end, you're going to be on that liquid diet to the point where you're ridding yourself of the very last of that toxicness within you. You're welcome, Lord Hades. So, but yeah, when you look at your rituals and what you're doing, what you're planning on doing, what your goal is, you, depending on where you are and what you're going to be doing If you're into Satanism and dark witchcraft, go to the woods. Find a crossroads type thing within the woods. Utilize it. Abandoned, places of sorcery that have immense amount of powers, like abandoned churches. Very good. Someplace where you're not going to get noticed, where you're not going to get interrupted throughout rituals. Now, you'll notice in the video that I uploaded this morning, trying to figure out what that is, though, but all right. The Black Fast versus Daniel and Sorcery. Okay. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the one. Okay. I just uploaded this about, well, actually, that's this one. Just a second, let me get over here to my videos. Dark Sorcery presents Necromancy Second Night Ritual along with Black Fast. I uploaded that 29 minutes ago. A little taste of what I've been doing ritual-wise. And yes, this was in a Catholic cemetery, by the way. And no, I'm not ashamed of it. Sources of power, defilement, things that prevent the right-hand path from continuing on is always a good thing, as long as you don't commit some form of criminal activity, like destruction of property. You can easily go forth and do a ritual of, say, chanting, or you can bring your own tools and just meditate to one candle or a couple candles and bring the burn pot, perform some form of sigil magic, petition the spirits within that cemetery. Okay? Perform some form of necromantic ritual or rite, communing with the spirits through intense meditation. A lot of times, the best time to do this would be around the hours of meridian. This is between midnight and 3 a.m. Very powerful rituals. And when you do this on full moons or moons with the eclipse, super moons, blood moons, very, very potent forms of magic that can transpire there. But keep in mind also that the spirits will, in fact, play tricks on you. I've seen, the first night I did this, I saw, when I petitioned them and told them what I was planning on doing and what my intent was, I saw purple lightning flashing in the black sky. And keep in mind, it was literally a clear sky. You could see the sky, the stars and the moon and everything. The wind picked up every so often, and I watched clouds suddenly just form around the moon. When I first started getting back into necromancy, and the first time I went into a cemetery to do this type of ritual, I was chanting for like 2 hours, nonstop, just repeating while I'm walking around this area. And I noticed it kept getting dark and then light. When I stopped chanting for a couple of seconds, the moon came back out. When I started chanting again, the clouds engulfed the moon. Very, very impressive. But to be fair, it was about 37-degree weather, and the wind chill was about 27 knots. Okay. And yes, I was frozen solid by the time I got home. Talk about a test and a trial. I recommend doing that if you can endure it. But yes, you do want to perform some form of ritual, consecration, and stuff like that. But you want to do it in a respectful manner. Because remember, you are dealing with the dead. You are petitioning the wandering spirits, the restless spirits and the dead and the undead, especially if you're into necromancy type rituals like I am. Okay, I'm not just a traditional Satanist. I'm also a career black magician and sorcerer. Okay, a necromancer, and I love anything to do with this stuff. So, with that said, I hope this has been educational. Hope it's been enlightening. I hope you take a look at some of the video that I just put up on the ritual from last night. Well, technically, it was early this morning because it took place between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. Very, very good full moon. Very bright. But it was also dark at the same time, which was kind of unique. The sky was lit up because of the full moon, but yet that cemetery was dark. It was like shadows just went wherever you went. Spectacular. You're welcome, Shelley. With that said, have a good day, and until next time, keep a lookout because I will be keeping you up to date on the rituals, and I will be showing you some of the rituals, but also discussing what I've been going through and how it's transpiring. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You should do a few videos and within the Dark Sorcery group. See if and share, enlighten people. You're welcome, Dark Truth. I want to thank everybody who's participated here, who's made an appearance. Have a good day.